We're dead. Okay. I've got to say, these are fascinating designs, though. Just fucking end me. Alright, welcome back, everyone, to Sunless Skies. So we're going to have a look at this ambition today, and then we're going to pop off to another place and completely ignore the ambition for a bit, hopefully. Ambition, the stars are dying. The seasoned captains, the plucky baroness, the bedeviled didact, the masked citizen, and spatchcocker Meg, have been assisting the staunch sergeant with her investigation into the fate of the stars. But your friend has disappeared, and a mysterious fire claimed her lodgings and research. Your attempt to find her has reached a dead end. By continuing her research, you might learn what happened. From the captains that you will be taking your friend's place. It's time they put their cards on the table. The Alliance. Their faces darken as you recount your experience in London. Impossible, the masked citizen says, knuckles white around the stem of their glasses. Of course we'll help. Meg grunts. The didact leans forward, his narrow face grim. Understand that each of us only has a piece of the puzzle. Our mutual friend has insisted upon it. Only she would have the whole sheet, and now you? Indeed. We have each been pursuing a different strand of her investigation, says the Baroness. Now we'll share them with you. Perhaps you can help us pursue them. The fire that follows sounds the most interesting. The phrase was mentioned in the notes you retrieved from your friend's lodgings. Pretty sure that's a monster, she says, wiping her nose on her sleeve. A fire, that's a monster. Did some asking round. If you want to know about a monster, ask another monster. That's what I've been doing. Been told it's a living flame, and it burns blue. Sound familiar? You remember the description of the mysterious fire that consumed your friend's lodgings? Yeah, our friend was afraid of the fire. She was always a clever girl. Anyway, next on my list for a chat is Mr. Menagerie. He's harmless enough for a bat-faced aberration, but he don't talk for cheap. 4 cage catches should help replenish his stock. Let me know when you're ready to go. To Pan. I know Pan is in Hybris. I'm fairly certain of it. So that is where we're going. So we're going to head off to Blue Kingdom Transit Relay. A stone edifice scintillates with sigils, is encased in a contrivance of steel and brass. This is a Singh Jenkins relay, allowing transport via a loophole in some cosmic mandate to a far-flung district of heaven. This one leads to the Blue Kingdom, one of the domains of the dead. It is little used. London only has a single faltering embassy there. Thanks to the lack of traffic, many London officials consider this a cushy post. Those stationed here are in good favour with the department. I submitted my paperwork for an extortionate amount of money, thank you. Border security. The official considers you from behind his desk at the relay gate. A thoughtful nod. We must be cautious, for the Empire's safety. He appraises you. We need to be certain you're the right sort of captain. He picks up the coin purse you've placed on the counter and considers its heft. Clearly you are. He bears a tobacco-tinted smile as he prepares your permit. The paper is white as lamb's wool and thick enough to be an undignified wobbling noise when he hands it over. Ooh, first time. I am a virgin to this place. Please take it easy on me. Where are we? Oh my god. Ooh. Thank you, signaler. I couldn't have seen that with my own eyes. Sky Barnet, the Toll Tower. A constant stream of dead spirits enter the Blue Kingdom through the base of the tower. Once there was a manned toll gate, but the fees have become more complicated, and the toll window is now closed. Grand entrance. The entry hall runs through the toll tower through gates that are never closed. The hole is full of passing spirits, few of them human. A masked warhorse, a masked dolphin swimming easily in the ghost of an ocean, a creature with 10-foot wings, which would certainly be more frightening if it showed its true face. No one speaks, and there are no footfalls, only a faint susurration like the drift of leaves. Get your bearings. There are stairs up and down, and less ordinary means of entry. Masked orangutan just descended a pole to the floor below. He better stop monkeying about. Am I right, people? Oh, kill me. Alongside the grand entrance is the marketplace of litigators, for all who need companionship and guidance in their encounter with the Blue Kingdom. Downstairs, prominent devils live, and in the upper floor of the toll tower is the Embassy of Albion. What kind of statement do you think they're trying to make? Lawyers being put with the devil. I've never heard that joke ever before. The attachés search for the lost love. The supercilious attaché is a very busy man, apparently. But when you mention the bleak industrial's name, his secretary suddenly waves you through. You find the attaché hunched at his desk, halfway through a mackerel sandwich.
The bureaucracy here is utterly intractable, he moans. I tried all the official channels, honestly. I filled forms until my hands bled. But they won't even tell me where she is. There's no use anyway. The dead can't go back.
Ask where you should start looking. You'll have to track her down the old-fashioned way. Testament of Salt.
A spirit is sent first to the white well for judgment at the stone-faced court,
explains the attaché.
If they are officially declared dead, they move on to death's door. From there, well, nobody knows. I have something that may help your research, if you insist on persisting.
He retrieves a wax tablet from his drawer and pushes it across the desk.
It declares the Barrys officially dead. Everything here runs on spitted paperwork, you see. I went to a lot of trouble to get all of this, so tell the industrialist that my debt is paid.
Marketplace of litigators. Litigators and resident devils have set up their stalls among the crowd heading into the Blue Kingdom.
Don't go alone. Hire a psychopomp,
advises a banner in the indigo lettering. A masked woman is negotiating in the first booth, offering 2 silver coins and a lock of hair. Question a litigator about the Blue Kingdom. They offer preliminary consultations free of charge. It's very simple.
You ought to be marked anti-deceased, explains the litigator bluntly. You know what that means, of course. Have a seat. The consultation is free of charge for the first 12 hours.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God. Yeah, can I just make some notes? You copy what you hear, but the liturgy is repetitious, and you are soon embellishing it with stories of invented shades and ruined monuments to past empires, doodling in naked women. The top 3 floors of the tower belong to the Embassy of Albion. The visitors climbs 10 flights of amber stairs guarded by spirits and devils, and arrives in a modest-sized parlour decorated with a pink floral carpet and a painting of the Empress. The secretary of the embassy works in the neat half of the office. The disordered half is the domain of the cultural attaché. Seek an appointment with the ambassador. You will have to convince the secretary that you have an appointment already. Yes, scored. Just like that. When you arrive, the ambassador is already dressing a wound on her arm.
My predecessor was afraid to leave the toll tower, she remarks as you come in. He hardly saw any of the Blue Kingdom. I'm determined not to duplicate his errors, but as you can see, there are some costs to the more assertive approach.
The cuts on her arm are clean and shallow. They look like characters in an unfamiliar alphabet.
An encounter with a Logoi, she says. And now I don't want what it's supposed to mean. Sit. What do you want from me?
Offer to help her financial concerns. Could I perhaps know her financial concerns first? I don't want to be married into debt. The ambassador is a tall, silver-haired woman. She's draped in medals and commendations, but none of these are recent. Pardon, that's a bit petty, isn't it? Pardon in front of the ambassador. It feels like that little sentence there feels like someone's just taking a jab at a fictional character they've created. Like, yeah, fuck those guys who've succeeded, and I'm here sitting in an office writing stories. Fuck them. Can have all the awards they want. It doesn't amount to anything. I mean, it's not like it's recent or anything. Dude's got some issues, whoever's writing this. Piled in front of the ambassador is a stack of demands, all marked urgent, pertaining to payments due soon, past due, and in their final notice period. After health. Settling difficulties. There is, the ambassador admits, a small matter. The embassy's place is in the toll tower is leased by permission of the Blue Kingdom.
Observe the lease, she says, pushing a document across the table towards you. It says that we are entitled to remain here for 3 viewings of the sun. The devils take this to refer to the days by the calendar, and they are having fees levied against us. But I argue that I haven't seen the judgment of the Blue Kingdom even once, so the lease is nowhere near complete. She watches expectantly to see whether you still want to be involved.
Oh boy, sounds like fun. Ask where one might begin renegotiating the embassy's lease. What am I doing arguing on the behalf of an ambassador? Do it yourself.
Please leave me alone.
God, I will file a restraining order against you, bitch. You know I will. I'm taking the kids, Karen. Fuck my doodle. How can you fuck a doodle? There's a question for the ages. Someone, I need food. Holy shit, what the fuck is that? Help me. Help me, help me, help me, help me. The dead don't like me. I'm shitting bricks. Okay, that's fine. We can resolve this problem bureaucratically by the system. How about you file your complaints with head office, please? Oh, fuck. Oh my god. What does this chuckle fuck think he is? Coming in here with his ghost sound effects. It's probably stock ghost sound effects I find online with a quick Google search. Oh, there's the real deal. I'm fucked. Well, you know what they say about life. It's short and disappointing. They don't, kids. Life gets better. I'm not firing at you because I'm a pacifist and I believe things can be resolved democratically. Oh, that's such a tease. Do you have food? You don't even have shops. Well, I don't know why I'm here then. The porch of the House of Days. The House of Days is a palace so large that it is hard to see both ends of the facade. The staircase up is many stories tall and the ballrooms wide. There is only one door. Spirits go in briskly, but those who come out are slower, not always sure where to go next. A masked rubbery spirit sits on the steps, holding an application tablet smeared in yellowish fluid. Application denied. No right of appeal. Attempt the doorway. One of the wheels circles you. You have no shadow illuminated like this. The fact strikes you as obscurely shameful.
You are invisible,
says the wheel through the language it uses as a single word, which is its own name, and which you comprehend without translation.
You must present yourself to the proper authorities and be given a status in the Blue Kingdom.
A masked chimpanzee passes you, snickering. It has been marked with a seal that declares it ephemera. Right. Okay, I'm going to mingle in the crowds. As you walk down a crowded thoroughfare, you notice the masked spirits shuffling to one side and dropping reverently to their knees. Some are raising unlit candles, some have retrieved broken hourglasses from their robes. Others are scrawling complex symbols on the floor in chalk. The cause of the commotion appears at first glance to be just another spirit in a porcelain mask. Taller than the others, his stride more sure. Luminous energies swell at his feet. Fade into the background. You're invisible, after all. The largest spirit shouldn't even notice you. An escape. The spirit walks past you without a second glance and vanishes around a corner. All around you, spirits clamber to their feet and resume their business. Sometimes it's useful to go unnoticed. Ain't that a lesson for life? The antechamber of the panzercritis sounds like a congenital disease. One may see the panzercritis at any time. If you have it, consult your doctor. He appears as a sigil of flame at the heart of the House of Days. The same sigil is reflected in the polished stone. It is written at the head of the page. Every page. In every appointment book of the house, it is spoken as greeting and pardoning by the servants of the house. To To be noticed by the Panzerkritis, however, requires effort and prior arrangement. This is the rumours about Panzerkritis. Each time you hear the name, it conveys new meanings to you. Echo on echo. The Panzerkritis is a logos. Let me do that again. The Panzerkritis is a logos, you Neanderthal. A word that was spoken by the westernmost king and has echoed ever since. Depending on your translator, the Panzerkritis meaning may be rendered as any one of these phrases. Eternal dominion. Everything in its place. No drop-in meetings permitted. The sigil is painted in nectar on the ceiling of the Court of Hummingbirds, for the better understanding of the winged spirits. In the Court of Whales, it is expressed in bass song. In the Court of Bloodhounds, it is translated almost accurately as a scent of vetiver and sandalwood. We're dead. Okay. I've got to say, these are fascinating designs, though. Just fucking end me. Kill me, you fucking piece of human filth. Well. Haha. Comedy Central here. Wellmouth. A smattering of dark cottages at the white well's edge. It is surrounded by endless rows of tumbled and broken statues, mere specks against the snow. Wellmouth. Howling winds erupt from the frozen abyss, rattling roofs and chasing snow over mist-shrouded streets. Most of the silhouettes in the snow are statues, cracked and mutilated by age. A few are not statues, but gaunt women in mourning veils who skitter suddenly into motion as you come near, and fall into silent line behind you. At the centre of the village is a squat black cottage. Its walls throb. Speak to the widows. These cadaverous figures are known as the widows at the well. Their role is to inter the failed dead. Whisper among the widows. You've attracted a half-circle of veiled observers by now. They respond to your questions with whispers and hiss among themselves. You're in the wrong place, says one of them finally, stepping a little too close. She points to where the lights of Erd twinkle on the other side of the well. The stone-faced court is there. Grandmother will know you're here by now, says another of the widows. If you intend to stay, you must meet with her. Else, fly away at once. I wonder if Scarlett Johansson's here. I wouldn't mind staying if that were the case. Get it? 'Cause Black Widow? Seek out the matronly relict's approval. She squats in a black cottage at the village's heart. Its walls bulge and pulsate oddly. The matronly relict. The relict is an old woman of colossal stature, as tall and broad as wagon, her face such a mass of wrinkles that her features are almost entirely lost. She shuffles aside and gestures silently to an armchair beside a roaring fire. You ignore the insistent skitter scratching coming from inside the walls, and you enter her parlour. I like that it keeps reminding me that my terror is unchanged at 12. It's just good foreboding. The relict collapses into an armchair opposite you, taking up her needles. They clicker and clack, knitting together black threads that outstretch from the walls and ceiling and floor. One of the widows pours you a warmish tea, then kneels at the relict's side with her head bowed. Request permission to linger at Wellmouth. The relict pauses her knitting for a moment. Her eyes and needles glint in the firelight. Dismissal. You are invisible, mutters the kneeling widow. You are not permitted here. You are not permitted anywhere. What status would she find acceptable? The widow averts her gaze from yours, but she answers your question. Grandmother prefers the living to the dead. She will extend guests' rights to the anti-deceased. You could just call us alive. It's a lot less syllables than anti-deceased. Do you ever think that the people who die is because you spend so long coming up with these words? By the time they've said anti-deceased, they're about 80 years old, right? Watch the widows inter one of the failed dead. A steady supply of immortals and quasi-immortals trickles from the stone-faced court. One is being dragged towards the edge now. The end of an immortal. The veiled dead is a cadaverous figure in a three-piece suit, his skin tattooed with phrases in Sanskrit. The widows are dragging him to the edge of the well atop a rickety cart. Though shackled in heavy iron, he thrashes and writhes like a snake on hot coals. "I can give you power!" he shouts, voice carrying even above the wind. The widow's wagon nears the edge. "Wealth, secrets, feasts, favours. I've lived 1,000 years. I am owed debts. My gods, what do you want?" The widows titter beneath their veils and tip him unceremoniously into the abyss. Goodbye. Oh, this is just a daily occurrence. Good. Glad to know this place is a vacuum of fun and intrigue. Would come here again. 2 out of 10 on TripAdvisor. Some nice views. The room we stayed at was fine. Would prefer not to, be pushed over the edge. Literally. Stone-faced court. The stone-faced court. Half ziggurat, half fortress. The court is where spirits go to face judgment before they meet their end. A meek little city has sprung up around it almost by default. Erd, a quietly frostbitten city that clings like a scab to the white well. Masked dead wander its ice-sheathed streets, going wherever dead people go. A statue crumbles on every corner, subjecting passers-by to forbidding stone glares. At Erd's centre looms the stone-faced court, where the dead are judged. A ziggurat wide as a mountain, as tall as a stack of castles. Erd's population are mostly waiting for permission to enter. Seek entry to the stone-faced court. A queue of thousands of masked spirits stretches out from the gates and winds up down a dozen streets, through buildings and over rooftops. Skipping the line, most of the population of Erd, it seems, are holding a place in the tangled queue. You see spirits departing and rejoining, silently tapping each other in and out. No one pushes, no one cuts in. An unfathomable etiquette is at work. When you ask a spirit near the front how long they've been waiting, they just shrug. A woman, a bit of a wait. A woman sits in a booth beside the gate. At least, you think she's a woman. Flesh above her collarbone has been carefully trimmed away, leaving a picked clean and perfectly bald skull with gemstones in its sockets. She grins more fixedly than one might expect, even from a skull.
"It's a bit of a wait, dear,"
says the unreasonably chirpy administrator. Never mind. You're not entering the stone-faced court anytime soon. Oh, good. Well, I ain't bringing you shit. I'm out of here. Cock, you fucking... Dude, just fucking eat me. If you piss me off, I will, without hesitation, cheese the shit out of you. I'm talking nacho cheese. This shit is the kind of shit you don't want to be talking about. It's so cheesy, your doctor will be having words with you about your cholesterol levels. That's the kind of level of cheese I'll give you. So, are you prepared to face that level of cheese? I bet you aren't. Not another one, Jesus. Are they doing damage to me? I mean, you've kind of got a homing aspect going on here. Horologion. The great dial Horologion is in motion. It is the clock of the Blue Kingdom, dictating the hours of the observances, rituals which govern the progress of the spirit towards death's door. Beneath its face, thousands of spirits labor to empower its revolution. Above, greater spirits of Aureate majesty preside over the regular observances. It is both a symbol and vital function of the bureaucracy of the dead. Depart. Oh my god, it's like high school all over again. It sucks being invisible. Maybe I'll start a fight with one of the other students to make a name for myself. Shadow of the Sun. Thriving flower beds, statues, obsessively trimmed grass, an ornamental lake shining and perfectly circular, like a dropped shilling. These surround the glittering palace called the Shadow of the Sun. Shadow of the Sun. The Shadow of the Sun is a meticulously kept garden palace, sitting at the center of miles of spirit-churned mud. The gardens are vast, ornate, resplendent. The flowers have been grown in exquisite regiments. As you follow the pale gravel path, you notice a yoked spirit carefully and individually measuring each blade of grass. The center of it all sits the palace where the sun's daughter dwells. Colossal, gleaming, its walls cascading with lilies. Seek an audience with the Arbiter. The Arbiter. Good old Halo. She is the Arbiter of Fate, the daughter of the Sapphire King. The Shadow of the Sun was built for her and around her. As you approach the palace, a pair of yoked spirits bar your way.
Only the yoked are permitted an audience with the Arbiter of Fates,
says one of the spirits, his voice emanating from the jar in his hands.
We cannot help you. Be on your way.
Is it because I'm invisible? Okay, well, I'll just visit the gardens then. I may be invisible, but at least the flowers respect me. Center of the ornamental lake is a garden island where unfinished stories are planted and fed. Passage across, a rowboat sits at the lake's edge, occupied by a yoke spirit with an oar at the ready. It doesn't take long for him to row you across the placid water. Any conversation is decidedly one-sided. The flowers have petals of parchment. Their stems are tightly wound scrolls. The island is filled with them, but they are not allowed to grow as they please. Instead, they are cultivated in meticulous patterns. A yoked spirit tends to the island, pruning and studying the unflowers with infinite diligence. She is known as the Gardener Archivist. She greets you at the dock, hand raised in silent greeting. Pick an unflower and read it before it wilts. Densely packed words cover the petals. As you start to read, the parchment blackens. Ooh, got it. Nailed in one. Unsatisfying. You manage to skim the unflower's page petals faster than they can deteriorate. It's the story of a trial, an accused murderer who didn't commit the crime, a bribed judge, a dupe jury, a callous prosecutor. Only the defending lawyer can save him, but the odds are overwhelming. She receives a strange note, perhaps from the actual culprit. She embarks on a fateful search for the truth, but as you approach what could be a conclusion, she catches an obscure strain of flu. The trial proceeds without her. She dies coughing and bedbound, not knowing its outcome. The parchment crumbles to nothing between your fingers. What? What a story, Mark.
What a story, Mark.
Yeah, you can say that again.
Genuinely a better story than The Last Jedi and Season 8 of Game of Thrones. Ask about the unflowers. What are they? Grown from unflourished seeds. When the dead pass through the catafalque, we extract their unfinished stories. Spirits afflicted by unfinished stories are bitter, detestable things. The gardener archivist keeps her voice in an empty flower pot. It echoes dolefully. At first we did not know what to do with our harvest. We could not destroy them, then they would remain unfinished forever. We found that we could plant them, and unflowers would grow from the seed. The stories remain unfinished, but at least now they are pleasing to the eye. Ask the gardener archivist what's wrong. She is fidgeting with her robes. She looks like she's working up the courage to ask a favor. It takes her a moment to work up the courage to unburden herself. Every decade, I am ordered to raise the unflowers and plant new, she says finally, even though it leaves their stories unfinished forever. It's a matter of space, you see. We don't have room for them all. That time's approaching again. The ending of the unended. Before that day, can you please help me finish as many of these stories as we can? Sure. I can't tell you how thankful I am. The gardener archivist pauses to collect herself. With a magnifying glass and a mirror and a great degree of care, I can read the beginning of an unflowered story without causing it too much wilt. I'll select one for you that I think can be ended without too much trouble. Come back when you're ready to begin. Off to conclude one of the unflower's stories. The gardener archivist will select an unflower whose story you can end. The unflower. She hands you a flower pot. It contains an unflower, a huge and delicate papyrus blossom sprouting from ink-black soil. Oh boy, get ready for the text. Don't read it until you arrive at your destination, cautions the gardener archivist, or it will decay into nothing. You must take this to the Eagles Empyrean in Euletheria, says the gardener archivist. Once there, read the unflower. You'll know what to do. Take the unflower. All stories can be ended if the right character comes along. Alright. To whatever that place is, return to the central gardens. The ferryman is waiting patiently for you, his oar across his knees. Okay. Farewell. Death's doorstep. The catafalque, that's a word. A knot of houses surrounds the station. Past these, the landscape declines into mud and misery. Somewhere between the bleak mire lies the catafalque, where spirits approach their end. Death's doorstep, an austere, ugly little town, has sprung up around the station, built and inhabited by spirits too afraid to pass beyond the door. It has no official name, because officially it should not exist, but some of the Blue Kingdom bureaucrats sneeringly call it Death's Doorstep. Beyond it, the endless furrows, an endless expanse of churned black mud. Make your way to the endless furrows. Careful, the mud can devour a whole boot. Once, the vast grounds around Death's Door were called the 7 concentric gardens. There were flowers, grass, trees, leaves, still attached. Now there is mud. A squalid, black, hungering mud, and a seething sea of the masked dead, digging and scrabbling, churning, overturning, searching. Useless now to try to cultivate even a blade of grass, but a few yoked gardener spirits dash between the trenches, rakes, and hoes aloft. They are still stubbornly attempting the impossible. Acquire a shovel. Everyone has a door to their death buried somewhere in the mud. The trick is to find it. To find it, one must dig. The trenches. Many of the spirits are digging with their hands, bolstered by the grim patience of the dead. You don't have that kind of time. You drop into one of the trenches that crisscross the churned landscape, and walk until you find a yoked spirit with a bundle of shovels slung across her back. She looks you up and down for a moment, then shakes her head. Voiceless, she drops to one knee, extends a finger, and scrolls shakily in the mud at her feet. Only the dead may dig, she writes. Not the invisible, not the anti-deceased, only dead, or ephemera. Dude. This sucks, man. Sure, I'm off. Farewell. I wonder if it's like a penalty to terror to eat these ghost boxes. Walking a ghost. The first taste of Petroika. You've eaten the last of your mundane supplies. Now your cook has begun to serve Petroika, the food that the dead eat. It looks like familiar foods, fruits and bread and pies, but it is as pale as the ghost of a moon. It smells like a meadow after a rainfall. When you bite, it has the consistency and hurried sweetness of spun sugar. Indulge yourself, eat sparingly. What? You examine the colourless contents of your plate. Was this mortal food once? Do figs have ghosts? Are these the souls of peaches fallen early from the tree? When a baker eats a loaf, does some essence of it remain, some echo of grain and yeast, recalling the shape into which it was kneaded by living hands? Do those flimsy remains find their way here, to the Blue Kingdom? You've heard that subsisting on Petroika turns your blood into ichor, milky and oozing. And, darker tales hint, delicious to the dead, that if you eat too much you will never be able to leave, nor want to. Well, shit. That ain't good. There we are. Little dock. The Forge of Souls. A colossal, many-towered citadel contains the Lyceum, an ancient library and rumoured to hold the fabled Forge of Souls within its depths. The Court of Dust, a sombre citadel of many towers, broods behind high bronze walls. A cloud of dust hangs over the towers. Occasional slivers of gemstone in the clouds sparkle as they catch light. This is the Lyceum, a library of legend and guarded fortress of knowledge. It is forbidden to all but a select few. Approach the gate. A lonely spirit mills about in the courtyard, unable to pass the gates. Perhaps you'll fare differently. You know, I don't think so, because I'm invisible, and as it turns out... Wow. Shocking. Turned away. The gates are high as tall cedars, masked faces carved into bronze, gaze down upon the courtyard impassively. Beyond the gates, the towers of the Lyceum rise higher still, forlorn and foreboding. For want of a knocker, you pound your fist against the bronze. A few spirits turn their heads and wonder, but nothing happens. Then slowly, a thin grate shrieks open in the lower part of the left gate. A skeletal face peers out.
You are neither yoked nor ephemera. The Lyceum is not for you.
The grate shrieks closed. Gee. Thanks. Observe your Blemmigan. It has followed you from the engine. Its tendrils probe the ground. What is it doing? In patience, the Blemmigan flattens itself onto the floor and lies still for several moments. Abruptly it stands and makes its way over to your feet. It taps a tendril on the ground meaningfully. You have brought it to the correct place, but it requires more. The Forge of Souls needs to be operational. Well, okay. We can all want things, but it doesn't mean they're going to happen. For example, I'm leaving here right now. Oh good, one of our ghost friends can pop in. Patrick Swayze, it's been a while. Got any pottery you need me to do?
Oh no, I hope it wasn't a masterpiece.
Well, it's not now.
Oh, where's Whoopi Goldberg? So, like, I've gotten no port reports, learned absolutely nothing from coming here, and felt like a complete tourist. That's pretty much how it feels to be in this place. Seek an audience with the inhabitor of the threshold. Walk deeper into the relay, passing between the jackals. As you do, they will close behind you, following at your heels down a flight of gloomy stairs. The servitor of the sun. The air smells of oil and hot metal. Faint light issues from glass lenses hung on the walls. Within each lens a soul stirs, a wispy with aloof, glittering eyes. The inhabitor waits amidst the wheels and pistons of the relay's mechanisms, or it, or they, sits on a bronzewood stool. At first, the servitor looks like two dark, long-limbed figures sitting back to back, but they are fused together at the spine, the elbows, and the back of the skull. Each of its heads wears a death mask depicting the most serene vulpine face. One turns towards you. The other, inevitably, turns away. Okay, representing life and death. I get it. The inhabitor is one or two of the dead, and so forbidden to speak. Instead, it keeps the voice of a departed spirit in a clay jar, which speaks on its behalf.
I have been appointed to conduct the rites of departure,
The voice jar says in a gravelly tone.
You have enjoyed the king's hospitality, for this span of the sky is his house, and you have eaten bread from his table.
There is an expected pause. Inquire about the rites of departure. Xenia,
Yes,
the inhabitor says solemnly.
I understand that elsewhere the laws of hospitality have eroded beyond recognition. A host has 3 obligations to his guests. The first is protection. The westernmost king, with his sword of sunlight, shields us from the lawless miseries of other quarters of the sky. Here you have seen the heavens as they are meant to be.
You know, I kind of got places to be, man. If you could get a bit of a move on with this.
Second is sustenance. Thus he provides Patroika to nourish all who linger here. The third is courtesy, for he has asked you no questions as to your nature or presence. You have been permitted here. In return, the guest has only two responsibilities: to be no burden, and to offer gifts unto their host before departure.
Now can I go? You hurry back to your locomotive as the relay engages. The steel arms swing loudly into position. The casing closes overhead. Jets of steam scour your hull. You hear the rumble of the correspondence stones rotating in sequence, and your engine is flung along tunnels that were burrowed through the sky in distant eons. Oh, I don't need to pay to get back. Sweet. Well, I mean, the rest of the journey is pretty much just chilling, you know? We get a roll of bombazine. I'm pretty sure I have one of them. And a cask of Navarin jewels. And that should help us get through. But if not, you know, we just leave the episode here and I'll do some farming next time.